hate most of the men that y'all raise. Can we talk about that? And the fact that the men that y'all raise never seems to date women that look or act like you? Is it because they saw the different men coming in and out the house and they were like, you know what? I know that that's what I do not want. Or is it because your standards start and end with money? You don't care about integrity, moral character, morals, and values. You just care about money. And they don't like it. And not to mention how much you talk down on black men, even their fathers, right in front of them, as if they're not a black man or black up and coming man themselves. And it's sad because they get a front row seat to see how you act, to see how you behave, how you treat people. And it just looked like it's something that they're not interested in. And the sad part about all of this is these men use you for a barometer of what they don't want, what they don't want to wife. And this is why you guys are single and not wives. So maybe you guys should be a better example to your sons, and maybe they wouldn't think of you as the bottom of the barrel. Can we?
And unfortunately, she's making a lot of sense. When you give that example of, and remember that example by what you see, what your child sees, what your young son sees, that becomes normal. That becomes what he associates with you and everything about you. And then when we see people that look like you, skin color, hair, body type, there is an idea that I already know what to expect because I know what's normal. And that's a hard thing to shake because of the very formative childhood years. The treatment that they receive, that we receive when we're younger from women that look like you, that we are supposed to love, and we see this is what we get in return, or we see how you talk about our fathers or men in general, black men in general, again, that becomes put in there. So there's a lot of self-loathing, self-hate, self-deprecation. So it becomes no wonder when their self-esteem is in the mud. And it is no wonder why sometimes they'll look and say, I just want to try something different because what I see as the norm is repeated when I'm now in dating age because we're all raised under that same sun. So in the black community, if mothers are teaching their sons how they should be expected to be treated just because of their interactions, and then mothers are teaching their daughters what men are good for, it's no wonder we just can't seem to get it together. So before we continue, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so don't miss no uploads. Still going strong, still trying to do 2 a day. And I like this topic because I think we in the community, in the online community per se, tried to raise this point some time ago where, when you were talking about the quality of men and why men or boys are doing so poorly, we forget the very large fact that majority are raised in single parentage. We leave that part out when you say this is kind of our fault, where we didn't prioritize for whatever reason, right? Let's not paint with so wide of a brush of saying that being a single parent is just one person's fault, or it's because the dad didn't show up or the mom ran him up. No, no, no. We're all kind of complicit in this thing. Some people are having children before they're ready, and they're sort of just accepting that this it is what it is. And there's men that are saying like, I'm just going to go on and start another family, or I'm just going to get someone else pregnant, or tada, the kid's 1 and his sister is is like 9 months because yeah, you're jumping around town. There's a whole host of reasons, but when we're looking at it, when we're talking about it from the single mom perspective, there's an understanding now that it's very difficult for a single mom to raise a certain type of boy to a man. They need that masculine like example. Sometimes that can be from uncles, from brothers, but it has to be a constant thing. Sometimes you get it from teachers, from church. Again, it needs to be a constant thing. But we're not, again, I want to be very clear. I'm not blaming women saying I can only do what I can do and here's my example of it. I totally understand that. When you were absent of that, the other difficult part is not also talking down about the father, being cognizant that your son is missing something and is going to be in this sort of deficit for quite a while in his life and going to try to fill it with whatever he can, whatever example of a male he can fill it, or there's more examples of you as the mom. It's not a fair situation, and it doesn't have a very fair solution, or there may be no real answer, just some solutions here and there. But there is going to be a large part of that our community that simply do not know how to get along with a man because they were never taught. They never saw that example. It's a chicken or the egg thing, but we keep jumping back generation after generation. When you don't have the example of what it means to truly love and appreciate a man because that presence is missing in the house, let's leave it blameless for a second. You don't have that. Then when you go forward, when that daughter or that son goes forward, they don't have an example themselves. They don't understand what the utility in a man is. So when you don't know, you try to define it generationally. And that is done really through social media, through other experiences, through socialization with friends, with school, with church, with larger organizations, or sometimes with the street. And the street is a very, very powerful teacher. Very powerful. So you define your masculinity in the ways where that society generationally says that that's what you're supposed to do. Now, some of it is good. Some of it is instilling discipline. Some of it is telling you that you're supposed to keep your word. Some of it is pretty poor, and that your masculinity is defined by how many women you can get and sleep with, how many children you can have out there, how it's not masculine to understand your feelings, how it's more masculine for you not to get involved, seriously get involved with a woman, like don't open your heart to her. When you have these ideas, you have to understand that part of that, because you didn't have that example in the home, you don't know how to raise a boy. Streets will do whatever it wants, whatever it's more useful to them. Same thing society will do. There'll be a school to prison pipeline because they have a need for that. There's money in locking in locking of young black men up. But when we're now out here dating and women complaining about the quality of men or the lack of quality of men, you have to understand that part of that blame lays at your mom, lays at the women. That, yeah, you didn't know how to do this. And of course, we're still trying to be nuanced here, not say that you didn't raise them properly. Some people are raised to the best of their ability, but a lack is still a lack. Same thing when men are not present and your son grows up to be something that you aren't particularly proud of, you don't have any leg to stand on. You abandon that duty, or you let, oh, she put me on child support. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to send money. And that becomes okay. I'm not saying it's okay. I mean, that's how the justification goes. That, well, it's fine. She put me on child support, so I'm just going to send money. No, no. We are complicit in the lack of, you know, healthy relationships today because we don't know what we're doing, or we get so caught up that we forget sometimes our duty is simply to raise the child as best we can, give the child the best leg up they can. And once we have a child together, our lives and our potential are a bit diminished until we can get that kid on track. We're responsible for what we actually see there, what actually remains. I, it's easy to simply say, well, it's the woman's fault. And for a small percentage of that, or percentage of that, yeah, some women make it difficult. Some women are so hurt by you no longer want to be with them that they cause this rift, alienate the child. They make life difficult, so difficult that some men are saying, I just cannot keep doing it. And they leave. They say, I can't have anything to do with you and unfortunately the child. And you see that they'll go off and they'll try again with another woman and have a successful family. That child grows up and discovers this is what happened. This is where my father is. He has and there's resentment. There's issues there. There's no real winners in any of this until we realize that having a child is the highest duty. Is that we have this highest duty to this child, and regardless of how we feel about each other, we need to set a healthier example. But we have a society that says me, 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 and right now, right now, right now, right now. If we can't deal with our own trauma and our own issues, we're going to co-sign a difficult relational life for the next generation and follow generation. I think some of us are old enough to see that play out. Especially people like my generation had kids very young. You're old enough to see that play out now, or or even younger, where some I think there's a creator. She's saying she has a black son. He's like 11. She's adamant he's not going to deal. He's not going to have a black wife. Adamant about it, just because she's saying the way these children being raised now or not being raised, and she's like disgusted by it. You can see that. You can understand that. Right? It's not a happy thing, and there's nothing that has a very quick solution until we understand. Once that kid comes, that's the goal now. That's the game. That's the most important thing. But listen, if you think I'm missing something, let me know down in the comments below. If you see videos on your screen right now, take a look at those. It means I'm doing my job. Shout out to me. Shout out to you. And of course, you listen to sound my voice now. You have not subscribed. Just join the train. We're just trying to pay the rent. I'll see you in the next one.